Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to News Now, and I'm making a video about the full truth about Google. Okay, maybe not the full truth, but definitely the truth part that you need to know. So without any further ado, let's talk about the truth about Google. First of all, let me just get something straight. I love Google. It's a great company, makes a lot of great products and a lot of great programs such as Google Drive or Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, Android. Love Android, although I like iOS more. Chrome OS, not great but not bad either. Chromecast, Pixel, just Google Photos, just all Google Maps. I mean, the list just goes on forever. Google makes a lot of products, and I'm sure you use some of them. Google.com, I forgot to mention that. Google.com. Google makes a lot of nice stuff, but why is everything they make so perfect? I just think that, just considering how many things Google sells, it's kind of sad that Apple is still ahead of them. And the reason for that is because Apple stays focused on what they need to do. Google sort of just spreads out, fans out, and just tries to do everything and tries to fill up everything in your home with Google stuff. And that's not Apple's objective, which is fine because that doesn't necessarily mean one's worse than the other. It just means that Google is more focused on quantity rather than quality in that terms of area. Doesn't mean their products are of bad quality. I'm just saying that I think they prioritize quantity of products over quality. The other thing I want to say is that Google has had all these issues with security and privacy and what they have access to in your phone. So it's gone a little bit better over the years, but still it's pretty obvious. Google.com, Google Photos, Google Maps, Android, Chrome OS, everything that you do that has a Google brand on it, pretty much they're collecting data about you. And some people feel safe with that, some others don't really care. I'm one of the people who don't really care that much, that's why I use Google Photos. But yeah, there's a really heavy price that comes with pretty much any Google product you get, is that there are going to be some serious privacy concerns that you might have. So if you're, very, I guess, cautious and very protective of your data, I would say stay away from Google. Focus more on Apple because everything they do is stored locally on device and they have very little access to your information and to your data. So I just want to point that out. That's definitely something that Apple shines in that Google doesn't. Another thing is that Google makes great, their UI is great, but part of the reason why they have most of the market share is because Android is an open mobile platform, meaning that anybody can make a phone and have Android run on it. Whereas iOS is a closed platform, meaning that only iPhones and iPads and only devices that Apple allows will be able to run iOS. Now, the reason why Google allowed Android to be an open platform, mobile platform, is because they wanted it to have a very large mobile adoption rate, and they really wanted it to really feel they really want to have a lot of the market share, and that's true, they do. But the problem with this is that Google actually doesn't have software updates going off to all these different phones either consistently or immediately. So apart from their Pixel lineup and their Nexus lineup, Google doesn't really focus on getting software updates to other smartphone manufacturers. That's up to the manufacturers themselves whether they want the update or not, which they do, but sometimes it takes a long time for them to actually get them to their phones. So for example, Samsung, their Android updates are at least 6 months late, if not more. Some are delayed by a year. LG usually gets them pretty quickly. OnePlus gets them pretty quickly as well, but usually it's still at least a couple months before you get them. Whereas in iOS, it's available to all the devices just like that. So I'm just gonna say another truth about Google is that although they do have a large market share in terms of mobile phones, they do lack in the latest software update mobile adoption rate. So I just want to point that out. And then the last thing I want to talk about related to the truth about Google is that Google is sort of fragmented in a way because they don't really have devices that really connect to each other the same way that iOS devices do. What I mean by this is that you have an Android phone, right? And you have, let's say, a Chromebook, but they don't really link up the same way that an iOS device might link up with a MacBook. The reason for that is because, well, pretty much they're just that different, and also Google doesn't make hardware really. They just sort of make the software, I guess. Other manufacturers make the hardware. So like Lenovo, for example, I don't think Dell makes Chromebooks. I'm not sure about that. iOS devices and macOS devices, they sort of link up together because you can get text messages and it'll appear on both. You can get phone calls, you can answer on both. You can get FaceTime calls. All your Safari data links up, and everything just links up and works. Google relies heavily on the web, and because of that, it's not really integrated really into the actual software. It's more into web pages, I guess. So it's sort of like web data. So yeah, that's another reason why Google products are not as unified in terms of you feel a certain nice ecosystem you have running through all your products. That is the full truth, or that I know about Google. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know if anything didn't make any sense, because I just sort of felt like this was a confusing video. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and I will see you guys in the next video, hopefully soon. I will try my best, like I said.